Lonnie will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The business statement says that Lincoln County Schools are equipping students to learn, conquer, and succeed. And our mission statement is the mission of Lincoln County Schools in partnership with students, staff, parents, and the community is to equip students with the skills necessary to be lifelong, productive citizens in an ever-changing global society.
Do I hear a motion to set the meeting agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Gloria, second.
No.
Jen, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay. A couple things before we get into our presentations. I want to say a special thanks to Colleen. I know the principals are very appreciative of the fact that what she writes with grants, and congratulations to our school on the Reading to Achieve grant. I think that was fantastic. We always need extra money no matter where, well, not no matter where it comes from, but most
Places will take it.
We'll take it. And one other thing, we had planned to have on the agenda this time, and we've changed that on the policy about naming facilities. I think the principals had some questions that they wanted answered, and I know Philip responded to some of those, but I wanted to make sure, and we'll bring this back in March, wanted to make sure that the principals are okay with what's written in the policy, or if they want something else. If you want just something plain and simple that says that each school, it's left up to the discretion of the principal and the site-based council on the naming of any non-public area in your school. So if you will get back to us about if you're satisfied with what's in the policy, or if you want to change it and give us your wording on what's in that policy. So that's the reason we didn't put it, but we will have it, a discussion again, get feedback from you all in March at our working meeting, and then we'll do the second reading then in our regular meeting in March. Okay? All right, we'll start with our presentations and the early childhood mid-year report.
So you all have a copy of the presentation, so I'm going to skip through some of this since you have the information in front of you. I'm really just going to talk about the goals specifically. So you can go ahead and switch. Switch. Again.
One more?
Yep. And again. There. So our program goal is to be at 90% daily average attendance. You can see our preschool Head Start is at 89.42, so we're really close to that. But our early Head Start is significantly lower, and just like we talked at Policy Council this past week, 77.68% is because of illnesses and other related factors. So you can skip. So our class scores, our average or our goal is to be at 5 for the program. If you look at the chart, you can see that the blue is our program average and our national average is in the red. So overall, we are at 4.95 for our total average for preschool Head Start. So we're almost there for that. And then early Head Start, we've met that goal at 6.26. And then our ITERs and ECHRs, this is for early Head Start only. Our goal is to be at an average of 5. And this chart looks a little different than the other one because we looked at national averages, but this one is looking at our ITERs and our ECHRs. So ITERs is blue, ECHRs is orange. ECHRs is for our older early Head Start students. So you can see that our goal was to be at 5, and we've met that in all areas for ITERs and ECHRs. And then TPOT, which looks at the social, emotional, and pyramid moral competency. Our goal is to be at 80%. Our program is at 77%, so we're not quite there yet, but we have a lot of new staff that we're training, so we feel like that's probably where that's coming from. And then our family mid-year outcomes. So this area measured on the family outcomes is during home visits. And 1 is being a need for our parents, and 4 is being a strength for our families. So this info is the information that we use to drive the various types of support that we provide for our families. Next, our goal is to be at 90% participation in our program. We're at 97%, so we've met that goal. And then this is the, that was for early Head Start, we met that goal. This one is for preschool Head Start. We were at 86% participation in the parent survey. So this is just that mid-year survey that we're asking for parent input. And then our goal is to be at 70% for children's regular attendance. You can see this reflects back to our daily average attendance. We're not quite where we would like to be, and early is really struggling with that. So. And then our family engagement goal, our goal is to be at 90% for parents to be engaged in our program. This is and if you look at the chart, that information is all of the information of things that we've provided for families or for students in our program. Our preschool families are at 97%, and our early Head Start is at 93% involved. So we've met that goal as well already. And then the last few pages are our mid-year comments that families shared. I know that was super fast. I'm trying to provide extra time for all of these folks. So if you all have any questions though, yeah.
Of course, I've got one. On page 4, maybe, the preschool Head Start fall scores. All of our numbers look pretty good except for the instructional support is very low. Is that something that we can help with? Is there?
So when we look at instructional support, we're above the national average. And in this area, it is about concept development. It's about questioning techniques. It's higher order thinking kind of skills that we're looking for. So we as a program have taken the initiative to look at our curriculum and to work on our lesson plans for our teachers and to kind of streamline that across the district so it's congruent. So we definitely worked on that. But as far as we're above the national average of 2.62. So, I mean, I feel like we're in a good spot with that. But, I mean, obviously, there's always room for growth with that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Kim. Okay, we'll move on to Highland.
Okay, so this is a comparison of our 2024-2025 KSA data with the change scores. So you can see that our greatest areas of growth were reading, writing, and then the quality of school survey. We grew in every area with the exception of math, which is our main focus this year. So overall, we went from yellow last year to green this year. This is our Impact Kentucky Working Conditions Survey results. So our greatest increase was school leadership and school climate, but I also wanted to brag on our feedback and coaching because, as you all know, this year we do not have a coach. But I'm very proud of these results. It's truly a reflection of the whole staff and team, and Highland is a great place to be. So these are our CSIP goals. We hope to increase the number of students scoring proficient distinguished in reading by 8%. Math by 15%, science, social studies, and writing by 10%, and then decrease the number of students in the gap group scoring novice in reading and math by 10%. So these are the initiatives that we've put into place this year. Measurable results, so we have new pacing guides and learning targets that are aligned with the standards. This is our second year implementing into reading and illustrative math. Our first year with Thinking Maps Writing, and our teachers are very fond of that program. Guided reading and guiding math groups with center rotations consisting of general ed teachers, special ed teachers, and assistants. So it's all hands on deck and core content areas. U-Fly curriculum to target phonics and phonological awareness, and that happens in tier 1 and 2. Letters training, my reading interventionist has already completed that, and our first and second grade reading teacher is working to complete that now. Peer observations, PLCs, the target trends observed in our walkthrough data, and then our Ron Clark House system. So these are our next steps. Data chats to analyze the iReady Kentucky Standards report to target specific student deficits and group students accordingly. So we recently just started that. Design and implement tier 2 and 3 interventions for students scoring below the 20th percentile on the iReady diagnostic, and that's ongoing throughout the year. Continue walkthroughs to monitor the implementation of our HQIRs. And then we actually had our KSA scrimmage scheduled for February 6th, so we're hoping to reschedule that for next week or the week after. Any questions?
Thank you.
Good job.
Great job. And now we will have Lincoln County High School. We're kind of going around different, because I think some people had to leave. They've got other obligations going on.
Okay, so when you look at our data, the district and our school is going to be the same because we're the only high school in the district. So when you look at the comparative data, it has the school, the district, and the state, and our school and district is always going to be the same. So looking at this longitudinal data, you'll see this in reading and math especially. We see kind of this roller coaster of up and down scores. That we go up a year, we go down a year, we go up a year, we go down a year. And that's really what we're trying to combat the most, is being more consistent regardless of what group comes through, that we are continuously to improve. We are continuing to improve, but we still go down and then come back up a little higher, then go down and then come back up a little higher. So we're trying to decrease those downward trends and be more consistent with that. So I'll explain how we're going to combat that in a few minutes. But this is what our math looks like. Again, we're below the state average in math. We were the previous year. This is our science, social studies, and writing, which is combined for one score as far as accountability goes. Our science is above the state average right now. You can see that number is still low, but the overall state number is low. Science is just a hard assessment, but we still are above the state average. Our social studies were even with the state average as far as percent proficient distinguished, and for our writing, we are above. Those numbers are still, we have that up and down trend. The reason why we don't have the science numbers for those 2 years is that data was suppressed, so it's not public on what that looked like. That's the reason why that data is missing. But still, building consistency is the key, I think, to what we need to do and eliminate, that roller coaster, those roller coaster scores. Our school climate and safety. This is the assessment that the students take. We still are below the state average, but we are higher than we've ever been. We continue to climb each year with that score, and hoping that this year we get above the state average and continue to grow in that area. We have continued success, so we're looking to build on that. Our post-secondary ready, which is comprised of students that are college and students that are career ready. So students that earn a score on what was the ACT, but will now be the SAT, and students that earn an industry cert. So we are above the state average. We're the highest school we've ever been, and we are going to be very consistent with that now. We figured out how to play that and get those students there. So if we get, our goal is 100%. I mean, we want 100% of our students leaving their college or career ready, and we're at 86, and that number, we'll continue to build on that for sure. Graduation rate, we are well above the state average on that, 96%, which is a pretty good score on that. Again, our goal is always 100% on getting every student graduated. So, but continuous progress on that. We're at the highest we've ever been with that number. The impact survey, we recently took that. That's a survey of the staff and how they feel about things. So we went up in every area except for educating all students, which you can tell looking at the data, we went down, but we're still well above the state average. And coaching and feedback, which we did drop from 2 coaches to 1. But we're at 74. We dropped a little bit, but we're still almost 20 points above the state average, and that area. So we did take a little bit of a hit there, but honestly, we're still way above the average. This is just kind of a infographic of what that survey data look like. 90% of the staff and the staff the size of Lincoln County High School feel like leadership and staff relationship is very good. 97% of the staff report that there's fairness among the decision making from leadership. So to me, that's the two biggest numbers that we want to look for when coming to staff is the staff and leadership relationships, and then also how the staff feels about the fairness and treatment from the admin. So that's, I'm not going to go through every one of those, but you can see even down in the very bottom where the feedback and coaching, like I said, dropped at 74, the average is 55. So we're still well above that, that area. So our big rocks, we kind of adopt what the district is trying to do. Since we are the only high school, we want to continue what the district initiatives are. So you'll probably see these again in the district report, but quality standards-based instruction driven by continuous data analysis, that's a big push this year for our staff that we're working on in PLCs, is getting them to really look at data and make decisions based on the data. We have the data, now it's how we use the data and what decisions are made from the data. Individualized targeted instruction and accommodations for our SPED students. Just in my honest opinion, our SPED scores have to go up. They just have to. So that we're looking at different structures and processes in order to figure out a way to increase those scores, but that is a huge push. And then culture and climate always, I feel like always has to be a big rock. I mean, you always have to be focused on staff relationships, student relationship, and building those bonds and creating a positive environment for everyone. So our next steps, we've done a lot of work this summer with our measurable results. We'll continue that work this next year. Our Open SciEd, which is our science that we're using, continuing that. Continuing supporting our co-teach and our SDI, or specifically designed instruction for our special ed students. And then creating a new RTI program. Honestly, at the high school level, RTI support is much more difficult because we have classes a day. So we can only do so much in a day because there's so many requirements that students have to do that we don't really have the opportunity to provide support for those struggling learners. That leads to the next bullet of, sorry, go back one more time. That leads to the next bullet of going to a 7 period a day schedule. The reason for that 7 period a day schedule is to add an RTI or a support class for ELA and math. So that when students come in not fully prepared for Algebra 1 or not fully prepared for English 1, we can provide support as they take that class. So I didn't want to take away opportunities for CTE classes and those type classes. So in order to do that and still provide opportunities for students to take those other classes, they need to go to 7 periods a day, kind of feel that opportunity for us to be able to do that. But so students that need that extra support will get that extra support in those areas for our freshmen and sophomores next year. All right, was there any questions?
Any questions? Thank you. And that's school. Luke, you got enough?
I hope you like my AI generated picture of my school there. I was going to put an iceberg over there in the corner, but we've had some good weather here the last couple of days, so we've been able to do that. Oh, is my link going to work?
What link?
No, click on the next one. Because it's the summary of the whole thing. No, go back.
Top right corner, there's a.
Oh, okay.
See, it should play automatically, but it didn't work. Nah. It is
That's
the-
gonna be an ad.
Go ahead and go back to the, it's okay. Sorry, that steals my thunder a little bit, but it was the Jefferson's theme song. If any of you aren't familiar with that, it summarizes the whole presentation in that the middle school is moving on up. If you're familiar, it's playing in your head anyway. So next is just our summary here of the previous slide had on there our color code. For the past 5 years, Lincoln County Middle School was in the orange, and for the first time last spring, we made it into yellow category. We're very proud of that. How we got there, you can see our scores, longitudinal scores over the last couple of years in all of our subject areas. Some modest but consistent gains in both reading and math. We had really big jumps this last year in science and social studies, so we're really proud of that and moving in the right direction. Writing has been kind of flat. That's been a big focus of this year, but we still saw a 1% gain in our proficient distinguished numbers for writing, so we're happy with that as well. Status scores, I want to talk about that just a little bit, the difference between a status score and proficient distinguished numbers. Status scores take your proficient distinguished numbers and then they add in a half a point for students who are apprentice. So it gives us half credit for those students who are no longer novice. It encourages all of our schools for novice reduction and making progress towards proficiency. It also combines them there in that reading and math complicated numbers that KDE puts together in terms of coming up with our overall accountability. So the reason I think it's important to highlight that for the middle school is because for all of those status score categories, unfortunately, the middle school was rated or given the label of low. But if you look at those numbers to where the cutoff is to the next level, we are very, very close in all of those categories. Less than 2% in the reading and math category, 0.1% in science, social studies, and combined writing, and 0.4% in the school climate survey. So we were very, very close in moving up in all of those categories. This chart here just kind of gives a little bit of a description of how those color categories are determined. So Lincoln County Middle School did have low, was rated low in those, for those status numbers, but because all of our numbers were increasing, that's what gave us that yellow rating. We're very hopeful and we expect next year to be medium in terms of our label of those status numbers, which would be an increase, and I hope to move up into the green category and then live there from now on as much as possible. Unfortunately, middle school is still rated as it's an ATSI school. Our special ed numbers, similar to the high school, struggling figuring out exactly the formula to raise academic standards in that category. So showing the difference there between the general population of our students and our special ed category. We've got some plans to address that as well. One of the biggest things in terms of addressing the academic level of the middle school and for our special education students is consistency within our staff. And I wanted to highlight, I thought our numbers were really good until I saw Highland's numbers. Those were amazing in terms of the increase of the working condition survey. But for all of these categories for the impact survey, we're seeing positive numbers as well, right? That the middle school is also a good place to work, and we're seeing some positive increases in there. So those are for those categories. Go ahead. So yeah, so for all of the categories except for one, we saw positive increases, and I need to dig in a little bit as to why we had a negative rating or a decrease in resources, because I thought we were doing a pretty good job on that, but that's going to be a focus for us to find that out. Once we get to the next step slides, I think you'll find a lot of consistency amongst all the presentations on this particular slide, and I want to just highlight and thank our academic division and our special ed division for providing some strong leadership in that area. That's why these slides are going to all look the same. So Ms. Hart, Mr. Davis, and Ms. Ball, I think are being very strong leaders in helping the schools in the direction. We're all rowing in the same direction. So we're standards-based instruction. That's the measurable results work that we were able to do this summer, and why we kind of adjusted the calendar at the beginning of the year and set aside all those staff work days, working well in terms of marrying that with our high quality HQIRs, high quality instructional resources. One thing that's unique to the middle school that I'll point out is we have implemented a character education program called the Positivity Project. So rather than just focusing on negative middle school behavior, which you can get stuck in at times, we're working every day in terms of talking with students about what we expect of them from their behavior, and talking about positive ways to be an adult and a community member. So we're doing very well with that. I'm looking forward to implementing that again next year as we move forward. Another thing that is unique to the middle school, I'll talk about access to algebra. We've connected with this program that is providing professional development to all of our math teachers about how we can accelerate our students to be able to have and access and be in Algebra 1 as 8th graders. But really, it's accelerating the learning for all of our students and helping our teachers learn how to bring them up to speed and accelerate them beyond what basic expectations are. So we've had some real good success with that. We're going to continue with that program for the next 3 years. I think the others are going to talk a lot about those as well. Actually, I'm going to highlight one more. I'm sorry, that content area, reading routines. I want to shout out to my assistant principal, Ms. Joni Douglas, has been doing a lot of work with our science and social studies about content-specific strategies on how to get students reading in those content areas. So we're not just reading in the ELA class, we're reading in science and social studies. Those students need to know how to access that content through written form in order to be able to perform well on assessments. And so we've been focusing on that in our PLCs and our professional development. They've been making some good progress. I think that's it. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Next is wastework.
All right, so had to go with our theme. So I've got a big tree because our theme is Watch Us Grow. That one's for you, Justin. I think he gets annoyed at my Watch Us Grow.
We gotta get inspired.
Just messing with you, Justin. So these are our KSA results. Our reading and math indicator together, our status score was 69.8. That was a positive change of 2.5. So our overall indicator was 72.3, which was green. Science, social studies, and on-demand writing, that's where we're making the most growth. 83.8 was the status, and the change was 8.9, so that made us blue in that particular category of 92.7. We did have a little dip, so in every academic area we did grow, but in our quality of school climate and safety survey, there was a little dip there, so that brought us down to 70.1 from 72.4, so a change of negative 2.3. But every academic area we did grow. Next slide there. And you can skip that one. So our overall score was 80.8, which is green. We were so close, literally 2.1 points from being blue again for the second year, but didn't make it. We were almost there. And that's because of our growth. Again, we grew in every area, but we didn't grow enough to get to that next color category. So this is the percentage of proficient distinguished over time. So if you look at all the content areas, you can see that upward trend, and quite significant when you look at writing. It was pretty extreme. That was 88%, which we'll look at each one of those individually, but it was an 88% of proficient or distinguished in writing, which was pretty awesome. Next slide. So then we'll go to each individual score. And actually, this is not the updated one. There was an updated slide, but that's okay. We'll just skip through that. This shows proficient, distinguished, apprentice, novice, all the way through per grade level within the totals of each one. And again, that was a significant increase this year. Go to the next one. Math, we increased there as well, and had an upward trend in that category as well. Our math goals and reading goals for this year, we want to increase by the end of this school year 9% proficient, distinguished in reading and 7% in math, for an overall goal within the next 3 years of increasing our indicator score by 11.4 points. Science, again, science is a challenging area. I know Mr. Willoughby was talking about that. Across the board, science scores are not the greatest in the state, but we have had an upward trend with that too and are making significant progress. Go to the next one, social studies. We did really well in this category, 61 or 62 around proficient distinguished for this year, which was significantly more than last year. And then writing, that's where we had the biggest growth, and we were 88%, roughly 88% in our proficient distinguished for writing, which we were very, very proud of. And I don't think we had any regular ed students that scored below proficiency, which we were extremely proud of. So the goals for science, social studies, and writing, For science, we would like to increase that score proficiency by 14%. For social studies, we would like to increase it by 7%. And for writing, there's not a whole lot more that we can put in as a goal other than 2% because it's already way up there. It's really high. Our GAP group, as has been mentioned by others, we want to get our special ed students scoring where our regular ed students score. So to do that is a huge lofty goal, but we would like to increase our students with disabilities, special ed scoring 19% more proficiency in reading and 12% in math. And then again, this is the one area of focus for this year because we did dip down just a little bit. We lost 2.3 points there in our indicator rating to make it 70.1. So that is a big focus for us this year, is making sure students understand how to take those kind of surveys. So we're doing one actually in a couple of weeks where we're gonna, not the exact survey from the KSA, but another survey that's similar that kind of shows perception data. And then I'm building focus groups within our school to just see what students are thinking about the culture and climate, and then to make changes based on that. So our goal for that, our short-term goal, is to increase that index by 3.2 as measured by the KSA at the end of this school year. And then next steps, a lot of commonalities to what you've heard everybody else talk about, medical results, all the work we've done over the past summer and throughout the year. We're focusing on all that curriculum work with standards deconstruction, curriculum maps, pacing guides, learning targets, focusing on our new HQIRs that we have for math and reading and science. Thinking Maps curriculum, that's our new writing curriculum. We're already doing great things in writing, but we're just using what we have and merging it with Thinking Maps to make it even better. Effective co-teaching strategies to help with our special ed population, clearly defined interventions with effective use of data, and we do that every month in our PLCs. Go back to that slide. Oh, sorry, you're good. Ideal lesson planning, and I mentioned having student focus groups and doing student perception surveys with all of our students K through 5, and then effective teacher coaching and walkthroughs and feedback based on those.
Now.
Yes, and then our perception survey, we were very pleased with our perception survey, our Kentucky Impact Survey. Our highest category was school leadership, and the next one was staff leadership relationships. We grew in pretty much every area, some very significantly. So we are very pleased with that impact survey for this year. And that's it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, Stanford.
The classic, I see.
Yes. So, good evening. We are happy to celebrate that our overall score went up 22.4 points. Our staff was super excited about that, very proud, and we were extra proud of our kids. As some of our other principals have shared, how close we were to the next indicator. So we were only 3.1 points away from the grading indicator. So we were very pleased with that growth and looking to see more. Because of the GAP group, students with disabilities, our school is in TSI status. So I need to get more clever when I'm making these presentations and put all these on one. So this is reading scores. Sorry, we're going to do them one at a time, but we'll keep rolling. So I included 23, obviously last year, and then you're going to see an increase. Go ahead. You'll see an increase in each one. In math, it's not as much of an increase, but we're working very diligently in that area. Lots of things coming on. Science is the only area where you will see a slight decrease, but other folks have already alluded to the fact that that's a tricky area, and we're working on it. Increase in social studies. Go ahead. Big increase in writing. Very proud of that one. Take a moment. Very good. Good job. All right, roll on. Our quality of school climate and safety survey. Other folks have already mentioned that. We've stayed pretty consistent with that one over the last several years and saw a small increase there as well. Go ahead. This is what gets us to TSI status. Our general population of students, or the all students category, is outperforming our students with disabilities at a pretty significant rate. So that leaves us with an achievement gap. So you can go ahead. We are focused to make changes and improve that. We were also pleased with our impact scores. We saw increase in every single category with double-digit increase in most of those. I'm particularly proud of the feedback and coaching increase because we work very hard to make sure we're in classrooms, make sure that we're giving teachers feedback because we're all in it together. We want to see them grow. So our school improvement goals are to increase the percentage of students with disabilities scoring proficient or distinguished 15% over the next 3 years, or you can look at that as a 5% goal for each year. Overall, looking at all students, we want to increase reading and math scores by at least 5%. And then also looking at all students for the remaining categories of science, social studies, and combined writing at a 3% increase each year. Go ahead. So looking at next steps, as the other principals have mentioned, you're going to see a lot of common things because we also adopted the district's 3 big rocks. We kept the same things because that's exactly what we're working on. So that measurable results work is the standards-based instruction that is rooted in our HQIRs. The targeted professional development there speaks about math. As you saw, that's one of our lower performing areas. So I'm participating in the PIMS or Numeracy Counts Administrator Academy. And we have 3 teachers participating in their teacher academy. And we're also doing a school-wide, well, it's not school-wide, it's our entire math department. So all of our math teachers, which by the way is a lot, and they're being great about it. They roll in and we are working through the Math Pact book, looking to develop a whole school of math agreement on how we teach math at Stanford Elementary. And it's been really productive so far. We're making great strides and I'm proud of the work that we're doing. Big Rock number 2 speaks about our special ed population and how we're working to support them. So we're looking at an inclusive instructional approach where we focus on co-teaching and more importantly, co-planning. We're working hard on that as well. We want to empower those students to advocate for themselves and persevere when things are difficult. Speak up, get the help you need, and don't give up. We also want to engage our parents and make sure that they're supported. And then that 3rd big rock is our climate and culture.
The end. Thank you. Okay, we have Houstonville.
All right, 24, 25 testing. The second slide here was, you may have to click it again. 69.4 of yellow was fairly disappointing to kind of take that to the staff the first day. We were hopeful of green. I got with Chad and Diana there at the end, and it was literally down to the last couple of students getting that stuff in. So the having been yellow or having been green for the last couple of years, the change score really got us. We dipped in an area or two, and even though our scores were still high, the impact that the change got on us hurt us a little bit. So all these slides are set up kind of similar by content. So what you're going to see in the bar graph is going to be the index. So you'll see, numbers in the 70s up there pushing 80, which for us as an index is really good. So you will see a decrease or two, but overall the scores are still maintaining pretty high. And then at the bottom, I've got our proficient distinguished numbers. So we can look at the scores in a couple of different ways. You can look at the index as a score, but then you can also look at your percent proficient distinguished. So I included both of those. And then the goal for next year. So at 76.6 is an index, and then 55% proficient distinguished. And our goal for reading for 2026 will be a 60% proficient distinguished number. Similar numbers for math, still, in the 70s, slight decrease, but, numbers are still strong from what we've gathered. Proficient distinguished number at 53%, and another goal of 60% for next year for math. Science was our biggest gain, and want to touch base a little bit, the difference between looking at the index and looking at the proficient distinguished. And I noticed one of the other schools, I'm not sure who it was, the index was high, but my apprentice number was really high in science. So we only had about 60% of our kids were apprentice, which isn't ideal. We'd love for them to be proficient or distinguished, but if you can keep them out of novice, that's where that index can really jump if you can. So our science novice number was only like 2%. So if you can keep those kids out of novice and at least get them into apprentice, even though your proficient distinguished number doesn't jump like you want it to, the index will jump, and that's kind of where the color ratings and all that stuff comes from. So a goal of 50% on our proficient distinguished number for science for next year. Social studies took a little dip there. Someone said earlier, that social studies test is tough. We saw growth from that same group of kids in a couple of different areas, but social studies we took a little bit of a dip on. 41% proficient distinguished and a goal of 50% for next year. Our writing scores were strong. A couple of other principals have mentioned the writing push that we're doing as far as the thinking maps, and I think that's going to do great things. Our writing scores have stayed fairly strong over the course of the year. So even though it is a little bit of a dip, still maintain, the 76.4 as an index is really strong. Anytime you're in the 70s or above, those indexes are gonna get you where you need to be for the most part. So 59% proficient distinguished, and then the 2026 goal of 70%. Our survey, this is one of the things that we hang our hat on. We're pushing 80 on that. And basically when I look at numbers here, it tells you that kids feel safe and they want to come to school. Our attendance numbers have been super high. I attribute that to, great teachers working hard every day, but the quality of school climate and safety, when a kid can take a survey and say, I feel safe, there's somebody there that cares about me. They want to know that I'm coming to school. They care if I'm out, they're going to check on me. Those are the types of things that are super important to us. So a 79.3 is super strong for us, and always wanting to increase. So a goal of 85 on that index next year. Our impact survey results, kind of like someone said a second ago, anytime you look at the staff leadership numbers, we feel like those are important and something we want to focus on. So 96% in our relationships with our staff tells us that, we've got people working hard every day. Ashley Lynn's back here. She does a great job for us as well. And Jennifer Smith, our instructional coach. So I feel like we have a great leadership team that teachers know that they can count on. So we're very pleased. Anytime they categorize those as 80% and above, they kind of give those a green dot, and we had several in that category. So even though there were some red numbers that went down a point or two, we feel like our scores overall were really strong when it comes to that impact survey. And then the next one's the second half of the impact survey. So there again, still up in the 70s and 80s. Someone else said the resource number. I think the resource number across the board is just a little bit lower. And those questions are tricky because they're not all straightforward. Some of them are human resources. Some of them are facility resources. Some of them are instructional resources. So that's a wide range of questions when you start looking at one category that says resources. So even though it was a little bit lower, we had a 7% increase. Our greatest increase was in the resources category. Just hit the high points of some celebrations, staying consistent on our status scores across contents. When we figured in that change score, it hurt us a little bit, and that's what got us into the yellow. Highest index in the district in reading, math, and science. Keeping those numbers high is where we want to be every year. And then our COVID babies made it. So we kind of took a look at that. Our COVID babies, I think one of them's hiding back there in the corner, actually. So that group were kindergartners when COVID hit. They missed kindergarten. They missed first grade. And we spent a lot of times talking about the amount of reading instruction that they missed. But for their teachers to, over the course of time, get them caught back up, 19 distinguished in that class for reading was definitely a celebration. And then a few quick next steps: continue to implement HQ hours with fidelity, focus on high quality tier 1 instructions, have students in front of good teachers every day is the main point. I mean, we can get kind of lost in a lot of the shuffle everywhere else, but good, strong tier 1 instruction every day for kids is where we want to focus. And then continue to focus on doing what's best for kids. Don't get lost in everything else, just do what's best for kids. That's all I have. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Last but not least, Crab Orchard.
If you want to dive a little deeper into some of those data points, there are raw numbers in the next schedule. Okay. I guess the main thing that I want to get across is where we've been, give you some perspective about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And so I have here 4 years worth of trending data. The light blue that you see on the graphs is our percentage of proficient and distinguished in each particular content area. And if you just focus on the light blue on the left graph in reading, you can see that we have continually increased the number of proficient distinguished students that we have, as well as increased our overall index score in reading. And currently, I believe we are at a 60.9 index score in reading, and then in math again, and the score in that is 53.5. Our overall score is as people have announced color codes and things like that, our overall score is a 60.2, and we are considered yellow status. Go ahead and we'll look at science and social studies. Again, we're continually increasing the proficient distinguished students in science and social studies, as well as our overall index score. I would like to point out, and this is in your handout, we only had 11% of our students. Science is a difficult subject to test in, but we only had 11% novice in science this past year. So that was definitely an area of celebration for us. Okay. If you look at our combined writing, we had a pretty good jump a couple of years ago. We've tried to maintain that, and we've implemented some thinking maps, advanced organizers that our teachers have used for a couple of years, and we're still continually implementing those and monitoring. And you can see that we've maintained that, not quite reached the level that we were a couple of years ago, but we're maintaining. If you look at our quality of school climate and safety, we're currently at an 85.3, which is considered pretty high. And then there's a breakdown of each individual gap group. And those indicator ratings for our quality school climate and safety, as reported by students, is considered blue when you look at the color coding, which is above green. So we're proud of our students feel safe at school. Our federal status is TSI, and this is the first year we've been TSI since my first year at Crab Orchard 8 years ago. And you can see that our reading and math indicators are pretty high for all students, but when we look at the 3-year average for students with an IEP, there is a gap that exists. So that's something that we're targeting this year. I'll get into that here in just a moment. There is a significant percentage of students with an IEP who are considered novice in math and reading. And again, we're working on that novice reduction. In terms of the impact survey, not a lot of huge change over the course of the past year. We did have some decreases in emotional well-being and belonging that staff felt, as well as educating all students. And our highest overall percentage in that summary is staff leadership relationships. What I would like to point out, and this is new data, this impact survey data is pretty new. It just came out this past week, and we've not had a chance to really dig into it. We are a student-first school, and we're all serving each other and serving students, and that pressure can it definitely creates some feelings of just pouring out from an empty cup sometimes, and I would say that emotional well-being is indicative of how hard we're working. We're just really working hard to serve our students. Something else and this isn't in the PowerPoint, but something that I would like to just speak on really quick is we completed a social emotional behavioral screener this past couple of weeks. That's the BASC survey. And I would note that our students, of all the students, 3rd through 5th take this survey themselves, and they self-report on their social emotional well-being. And then the kindergarten through 2nd grade student teachers complete those reports. And I would just note that, and this is in your handout, 3 in 10 students at our school are either elevated or extremely elevated in their self-reporting of maybe feeling anxious or maybe feeling some sort of depression or something similar. And so I would just speak to the fact how important it is that we support students socially and emotionally, along with the academic support that we're trying to provide. And so our key initiatives will continue to be novice reduction. We've done that. We're continuing to climb towards reducing those number of students who are achieving novice and increasing proficient and distinguished scores. Implementation of high quality instructional resources in our illustrative math and into reading. We're moving into Open SciEd this next year. The measurable results work that we're initiating with the curriculum instruction assessment alignment. We're looking very closely at our co-teaching models and implementing stronger station teaching. We have been discussing the past few weeks on special education co-teaching planning with our general education teachers. We're looking closely at our IEPs to make sure we have standard-based goals that are based on grade band standards, and then organization of our special ed caseloads. We specialize where our special ed teachers are just working with specific grade levels and content areas. And so being that those are needs based on our TSI status, that's a place where we're focusing. We're rolling all this out through POCs and through walkthroughs and feedback.
Thank you, Mr. Abbott. Just want to thank all of our principals for giving us such good information. You're thorough, very short. We appreciate that. That was good information, things that we really need to know. And now we're district report.
A lot of the information that I have is, I think you've already heard, so I'll try not to be as repetitive as I could be, but I'll start by saying that the success of a school begins and ends with school administration. It really does. And we have a great group of school administrators, so kudos to them for all their hard work. Education is, it's an ever-changing business. Sometimes it changes so fast you can't keep up with it. But they do a really good job at meeting all the demands that are required of the job. So I will start our reading and math status scores, and I've combined these because when the state does the calculations for overall school performance, they combine them into these areas. Looking at 24 school year versus the 25 school year, you can see that we had increases in all three levels, elementary, middle, and high school for reading and math status scores. The next one. For students with disabilities, elementary, we saw increases, a slight increase at the middle school. The high school, you'll see 25 scores, but not 24 because those scores in 2024 were suppressed. We didn't have a large enough population to take that test to get scored back. We are seeing increases in that area. To address the TSI situation, a lot of it comes from those scores that I just showed you and the difference between our students with disabilities and the overall student population. And we're doing a lot, we have a lot of things in progress to address that, which they've mentioned. All right. Science, social studies, and combined writing status scores. Elementary, you'll see there was an increase, middle school an increase, and high school an increase. So at all three levels, we are going in the right direction in those areas. Again, that's kind of a summary of all the data you've already heard, but this is a district level look at that. Quality of school climate and safety scores, again, increases at all three levels. And I think you'll notice a pattern here. We're seeing increases. Some are larger than others, but at all three levels, we're making progress in about every area. So Mr. Willoughby talked about post-secondary readiness, and that is an area where we have done very well, and that shows that students are leaving high school post-secondary ready, whether it's college or career. The numbers that are on here are slightly different than what he showed because this includes high demand. High demand is, those are areas where students can earn industry certification, and they're high demand areas. You get bonus points for that, and that impacts your overall post-secondary readiness score. You can see we're over 100 there. So those were, I can't remember, I want to say like 15th in the state. So our post-secondary readiness is really high. Graduation rate, you have a 4-year cohort and a 5-year cohort. You can see there are also increases there. All students went up. Students with disabilities decreased slightly, and it is below the all-student graduation rate. Part of that is attributed to our students in the MSD classrooms at the high school. There are ways that they can become post-secondary ready and meet the graduation rate. And in the past, we have not had the courses in place or the workforce development classes for those students. This year is the first year that I know that we've had that in place. So that'll help our post-secondary readiness and our graduation rates as well. And our Impact Kentucky survey results. I know that's small, but I think you all have a copy of that. You will see increases in every area. Resources stay the same. As everybody's mentioned, resources is the low area. A couple of things that play into that. One is facilities, which I know Mr. Smith and the board, you've all done a lot and made a lot of investments in our facilities, which should impact those scores. Another thing that impacts resources is, one of the questions is basically how much money do teachers spend of their own money on classroom resources? And that's really high. I mean, honestly, it is. Most teachers say they spend either a significant amount or they just say they spend a significant amount on resources. That's just what, I mean, I can't really sugarcoat that. What I will say though is that's not just a Lincoln County thing. I think if you look at about any district, teachers are spending their own money. Whether it's student rewards, whether it's pencils in the classroom, no matter what it is, they spend their own money. And I compared our scores on this to surrounding districts. What you'll see, if you look at the third column, it's a national comparison. And you see we are in the 80th, 90th percentile nationally, but if you compare our scores to surrounding districts, we are above every surrounding district that I looked at. So again, there a lot of investments been made to make Lincoln County a good place to work, and I think that's showing on these results. Our 3 big rocks, you've already seen these. Quality standards-based instruction driven by continuous data analysis, individualized targeted instruction and accommodations for special ed students. And we've got a lot of things in the works for our special ed students to make sure that they receive the same educational opportunities that all students do. And culture and climate. And the previous slide shows that our culture and climate is good and improving. Next steps, again, some things you've already seen, but our measurable results, professional development and the work there, that's had a huge impact on instruction in the district, and I think it will continue to do so as we continue that for the upcoming year and then beyond. Open SciEd training, you heard from our principals, science is an area of growth at every school essentially and statewide. This training will benefit our science department, and hopefully that's going to lead to improved science scores. Continue training and support in co-teaching and specially designed instruction. Again, back to the special ed students, we want to make sure that they have those opportunities. And we're doing walkthroughs in every school. We have a team that is doing walkthroughs in every co-teach classroom to see exactly what's going on and ways we can improve those classrooms. And thinking maps writing trainings. You heard several people mention that that's had an impact on our writing scores. And I think it will continue to do so as we continue training in those areas. And that's a summary of the district. You all have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on, public comment. All right, superintendent and staff reports, any questions? All right, then we'll move on to the consent items. Any questions, any comments on those? Do I hear a motion to approve the consent items?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler, second.
I'll second.
Gloria, vote Gloria.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, moving on then to our action items. 7A, change to diploma credits. Mr. Wilby or Chloe Wiltshire?
I'm gonna do it today.
Wait a minute.
Are we supposed to approve the I guess we just did.
Yeah.
The-
Consent item.
For the family resource.
It's in there. It's part of the consent.
It was in the consent.
It's
We-
6L.
Okay,
It's in with the grants.
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Lord. All right, let's prove it.
So with changing our master schedule to represent 7 periods a day, that would ultimately give the students opportunities to earn more credits. So to reflect that, what we were asking for was to change the graduation requirements by adding 1 credit over the next 3 years. So basically, next year's seniors will require 23 credits to, to couple with that extra class. The next year's class will have 2, the next year's class will have 3. I'm not asking to add a 4th because right now, students can earn 24 credits. We're asking for 22. I don't want to ask for the same number when I'm requiring them to take more classes. So it basically would be represent 22 for this year, 23 for next year, 24, and then 25. That is with the adjustment of adding that 7th period.
Any questions? All right, do I hear a motion to approve the revised credit for each diploma type at Lincoln County High School?
Make a motion.
Philip, second. Jen, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jen.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, Mr. Rowland. 7B, pay application number 1, Lincoln County High School renovations bid package 2.
It's probably me, I don't know. I got stuff here, so just making sure no one else is gonna come up. So 7B is the payout number 1, and this is from Field Turf USA. So this is regarding the turf that we're putting in. The amount that they're requesting is $356,088.70. There will be remaining, there's a little over 80,000 that will be remaining to be approved and paid at a future meeting.
Any questions?
I know you're not Brad, so this is
I'm
a shot
not.
in the dark, but any idea how close they are to finishing that up on our?
Well, obviously the weather was a slowdown, but I know prior to all that hitting, Brad was pleased with the progress. Of course, through the winter, you just don't know what you're gonna get, but I know prior to the storm hitting, he said, we're going great, we're doing good. Obviously a little bit of a slowdown, but I think he's still hopeful that,
Before season starts.
yeah, that all
They
will
were,
be in
they were,
place.
they were really close
Yeah.
when the snow hit, and so obviously that slowed them down. But they're,
Looking good.
I think they're,
Yeah, that's right.
the crew was supposed to be getting there today, and I think the baseball was really, really close,
Mhm.
softball too. I mean, it's fingers crossed, but they're trying to catch up after the snow.
Mhm.
You actually drive by, you could see it. I think there's some seaming together. My
Yeah.
Brad was.
Yeah, they've still got a little work to do, and I think they were gonna be there today, tomorrow, and maybe there Saturday also.
Okay, any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve pay application number 1 in the amount of $356,088.70 for the Lincoln County High School renovations bid package 2? Jan, second.
Second.
Philip, second. Gloria, vote.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right. 7C, pay application number 4, Lincoln County High School renovations bid package 2.
So this is pay app for Branscombe, and the amount that's due with this pay app is $145,986.39. And then we have the direct purchase orders. The current amount due is $18,641.09, and that is due to the Allen Company.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve pay application number 4 in the amount of $145,986.39 and direct purchase orders totaling $18,641.09 for the Lincoln County High School renovation bid package 2?
I'll make a motion.
Philip, second.
I'll second.
Tyler, second. Vote. Gloria.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jen.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7D, change order number 6 for the Lincoln County High School renovation bid package 1. Mr. Clark.
Hi there. I'm Joey Clark. I'm with Culver Samacar. I'm working with Jason. I'm here to, at Brad's request to sort of explain and answer any questions you have regarding that change order. Essentially, what it boils down to is once the floor is finished and you guys took possession of it, It was brought to our attention that there were some performance issues with the floor. Our office has been down there multiple times. We've met with the installer, the contractor, and the manufacturer. We've observed those same inconsistencies with performance. So it was our suggestion that we invite an independent testing agency to come down and perform a series of tests so we can determine, number one, specifically where those inconsistencies are, and if we can try and determine a cause of those, and also get performance data and readings from several different tests. And in order to do that, we needed to hire that company. Their fee was $5,600. We negotiated with Branson, the general contractor, that they would be responsible for the costs of that test service. And in order to do so, basically what we've done is we've written a deduct change order out of their contract that will cover the costs for the tests. So Lincoln County Schools will actually write the check to Asset, which is the testing company, but in return, you're approving this change order to deduct that same $5,600 out of Branson's contract amount. So it's a net no charge or no change or add to the district as far as finances are concerned.
Any questions?
I have a few.
Sure.
So, I guess the first question is when they did the testing, did they test the entire court or did they just
Yes, sir.
test sections?
Yes, sir. They tested the entire court. The crew was there for an entire day, and they've written a report which we are in possession of. You guys are in possession of it, as well as the contract and install subcontractor.
With, moving forward, I'm assuming that with the inconsistencies, we're gonna have a plan on how to correct this or to get everything back up to par and to where everything needs to be.
Yes, sir. On the first state, there's absolutely no safety issues with the floor. Basically what it is, those inconsistencies in performance relate to ball bounce and perceived vibration in the floor when you're dribbling the ball. Right now, we don't know the cause. We've got some theories on what's caused this. Basically, you're in the middle of the season right now. So there's nothing we can do right now because if there's any issues, whether it's faulty installation, whether that's damage from construction, it's all concealed. So we do have a plan in place. Mr. Smith's relayed to me, as well as Mr. Willoughby, that the floor is not acceptable. We agree, it's not acceptable. So what we're going to do is issue in writing to Branson that we don't accept the floor. We're going to have to wait till the season, probably your school year is over. And based on what we believe and what the testing service has advised, the best thing to do would be to take some sections where we know we've got poor performance, surgically remove layer after layer of that floor so we can determine if there's damage to the existing sleeper system that we left in place, or if there's damage to any member of or any component of the new system that's put in place. That's our plan of action.
I'm glad to hear that there are no safety concerns.
No, there's none.
Look forward to hearing the plan moving forward so
Sure.
that we can get this taken care of.
Well, I'll just let you know, we're here for you, and we'll certainly make sure we stay on top of this and make sure we get it resolved for your satisfaction.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve change order number 6 for the Lincoln County High School renovations bid package in the amount of negative $5,600? Jan, second. Philip, second. Gloria, vote.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Watt.
you.
7E, mowing bids.
I hope Brad pays you a good stipend to do all his dirty work.
Needs to bring supper home tonight. Brad's off the hook. He was at a basketball game with our daughter, so I let him do that and I cover for him here, so it works out. We opened mowing bids, and as you can see, we received 13 bids. Well, we received 12, but we received 2 from one individual, 2 different bids. So that was a great response about what we saw last year when we advertised. So that helps us know that, the bids we're seeing are competitive. After looking at the bids, Brad evaluated the bid packages. His recommendation is to go with the second lowest bidder. The low bid did not turn in a completed bid package, didn't list their equipment or any references. The second lowest bidder was Jacob Johnson. The amount he bid per mowing was $1,850. Brad said he did check his references. Those were all good. He also indicated this individual has worked with a previous contractor who previously mowed for the district. So he's familiar with the properties, and that's a good thing to come in and kind of know what you're dealing with. And he felt like that this would be the top choice for him based on the bids received. So his recommendation was to accept the bid from Jacob Johnson for $1,850 per mowing.
Any questions? Do you hear a motion to accept the bid from Jacob Johnson of $1,850 per mowing for the 2026 mowing season?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler, second.
I'll second.
Gloria, vote Gloria.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 7F, copier for Houstonville Elementary.
Yeah, so I got with Leanne, I probably should have done this a couple years ago, but it's so expensive. We've got two over there that when I talked to DOE, they're pretty certain that Gwen Lawson bought those and she was using this. They're pushing, one of them is about 4 million copies and the other one's sneaking up on 3.6. So had looked at possibly purchasing two. I got with Leanne, but I think that's going to be a little bit much for our instructional budget with some cuts that are already going on. So we're going to do one for now. I think the cost was there a little under 15,000. So I know my staff would appreciate it if we could get at least one, and then hopefully another one in a couple years.
Any questions?
We can handle that, Leanne?
We can.
Thank you.
We'll allow it.
Do I hear a motion to approve the purchase of one copier for Houstonville Elementary? Jan, second.
I'll second.
Tyler, second. Vote Gloria.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Good job. 7G, 2027-2028 calendar committee, Anthony.
Each year, the school board is required to appoint an annual calendar committee. And this year, we're going to be looking at the 27-28 school year calendar. And I'm requesting for the following individuals to be appointed. For our principal representative, Amanda Foster. For our district office administrator, Diana Hart. Of course, the school board member will be determined by your all's decision. Two parents of students attending in the district, Gerald Sims and Jessica Taylor. District elementary teacher, Rebecca Cash. Middle or high school teacher, Morgan Johnson. And two classified employees, Lynette Lunsford and Lakin Grider. And then two community members, Justin Pointer and Woods Adams. And I've tried to get people all across the county to get everybody represented with that bunch.
And so you need a board rep. Someone like to volunteer?
Last time I'll do it again if no one else wants to.
Is that okay with everybody? All right. Jan, we'll appoint Jan to be on the calendar committee. And so we need, do I hear a motion to approve the calendar 2027-2028 calendar committee?
Before we do that, just a quick question. How did you choose all these people? Like, what was the method of choosing for any of them?
Several of them, I just contacted principals and asked for somebody to rep from that building. I tried to just go around from school to school and get a wide representation of the county as a whole.
So basically, the principals gave you most of these names.
Do I hear a motion to approve the calendar 2027-2028 calendar committee with Jen representing the board?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler, second.
I'll second
Philip, vote. Gloria?
Yes.
Philip?
it. Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, thank you. 7H, tentative section 7, staffing allocation formulas. Leanne.
Well, here's the bad news. I'm just now getting started on my stuff, so. Let's zoom through it. So the first is for the section 7 staffing allocation. And so we always do a tentative approval during the month of February, because we have to have those done by the 1st of March, and then we'll come back and do this, the final approval in April, because we have to have these approved by 1st of May. So this is our first go around with this, but we'll revisit, within another month or so. With regard to the sections 7 staffing allocations, you all are approving formulas that use the student membership numbers at each school to kind of derive how many staff the schools receive. I look at the current enrollment at each school. Of course, if we're looking at projecting for next school year, for instance, if I look at an elementary school, I'm looking at their 5th grade class and I'm moving it out because they don't have that class next year. And then I'm projecting what their kindergarten class will be, and then kind of come up with a number, and that determines how we staff that school. And then, of course, when I'm moving the 5th grade classes out of all the elementary schools, I'm moving that to the middle school, move the current 8th grade class up to the high school, and I move the senior class out. So we're doing a little projection, so we have a pretty good idea of what those numbers will look like. After the school year starts, we look again just to make sure, what if we estimated this school is only going to have 20 kindergarten students and all they've got 40, we need to give them an extra position. We typically don't see that, but we do always look to make sure we have an understaffed once we get the school year started and we see what those numbers look like. So if you look at the section 7, it includes some different categories on there, including assistant principals, counselors, specials. It includes the secretary, bookkeeper position, attendance clerks, custodial staff, instructional assistants. Talks about the staffing for food service, our SROs, and those are the ones included in our section 7. So there are no changes. I made no changes to any formulas from last year to this year. If you guys have any recommendations or want us to look into any categories, we can definitely do that. But I did not initially put any changes into our section 7 formulas.
I would tell the board, I think we're gonna have to start looking at start making a list of things that we can possibly cut, with some changes. And so there's already been a few suggestions that we talked in our Monday morning directors meetings. We talked with the principals. So I think you all can be thinking about some possible things, but it's going to kind of depend on what happens in Frankfurt with the budgets and, with the trend of enrollments continuing to decrease across the Commonwealth and then across the nation. I think we're going to have to start looking at ways we can save some funds to keep our contingency the way that we have it. So be thinking, and if you have some suggestions, let me know, because there's a list that's been started of some possibilities.
It'd be nice if you'd share that list.
I will.
Okay. Before we start trying to figure it out.
I will.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
One thing we could think about as a board is possibly, although I really appreciate having our working meeting, is that we might want to think about doing away with that. That would save not a whole lot of money, but it would save some. So it's something to think about. Okay, do I hear a motion? Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the tentative section 7 staffing allocation formulas for 2026-2027 school year?
I'll make a motion.
Philip, second.
Second.
Jen, vote Gloria.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, tentative section 4 and section 5 staffing allocation formulas.
So same deal on this. We'll look at it now and then we'll look at it again in April. The section 4 covers our certified allocation, section 5 classified allocation. No changes. I'll just read through the certified staffing levels. Schools will be staffed on a student to teacher ratio of grades K through 3, a ratio of 24:1, and grades 4 through 12, a ratio of 25:1. A lot of the section 4 and section 5 is governed by KRS 157.360. And what it states is that, I'll just read through and you'll see that we're well below on the student ratios than what we have to be. K through 3 is 24:1, which is where we're at. Grade 4 only has to be at 28:1. Grades 5 and 6, 29:1. And then 7 to 12 are 31:1. So we are well below the levels that we have to be at. And then below those, classroom teachers, we have the media specialist listed down there. We also have the kindergarten assistant, one full-time assistant per 24 kindergarten students. Now, you may say, well, we staff at 24-1, but there are classes at such and such school that have more than, 24 kids. Yes, and you can do that. We're just required to provide the school with the amount of teachers that we say we're going to based on student numbers, but school councils aren't bound by the maximum class size limit. So once we say, here's the calculations, we're providing these numbers based on the ratio that you all will approve. They just take the number of staff allocated and they can line those classrooms out how they see fit. So.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the tentative section 4 and section 5 staffing allocation formulas for the 2026-2027 school year?
I'll make a motion.
Philip, second. Tyler, vote. Gloria?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, 7J, bids for yearbook.
Yeah, I'm just asking for permission to advertise for bids for yearbooks for the, I say 25-26 school year in there, and I should have said 20, right? Yeah, I messed up on my part. It's the 26-27 school year. So not this school year, but for next school year. It's been 3 years since we put bids out for that. So we'll advertise for bids and then hopefully have those in by next meeting and approve those next meeting. So that's for the 2026-2027 school year.
Okay.
All these years sound so futuristic. This doesn't make sense.
Do I hear a motion to approve advertising for bids for yearbooks for the 2026-2027 school year?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Gloria,
I'll
second.
second.
Jen, vote. Gloria?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7K, bank depository bids. Leanne?
So we're required to bid for our bank services every 2 years. So we've hit the 2-year mark. So I'm just requesting permission to accept sealed bids for bank depository services. And this will run from July the 1st of 2026 to June the 30th of 2028.
Any questions? Do you hear a motion to approve, to advertise for and accept sealed bids for bank depository services to be effective from July the 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2028?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler, second.
I'll second.
Philip, vote. Gloria?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7L, bids for drug testing services.
It's been 3 years since we've bid for this, so we do need to advertise for bids for the 26-27 school year.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve advertising for bids for drug testing services for the 2026-2027 school year?
I'll make a motion.
Gloria, second. Philip, vote. Gloria?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7M, student accident insurance. Leanne?
So Roberts Insurance has provided quotes to us for our student accident insurance. We currently use Hartford, and that's the recommendation for next year. So I'm asking that you accept the quote from Hartford for the 26-27 school year. It is a slight increase of almost $300, but we'll take it. And the total premium is $81,677.18. This is paid from the general fund. This coverage is for all of our students and student athletes. So how it works, our base policy through the Hartford covers any student that's involved in an accident, on school grounds or in a school activity. They cover any accident that is from $0 to $25,000. After it exceeds the $25,000, it's a catastrophic claim and it goes to the Zurich company. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that covers up to $7.5 million. Now, if a student is participating in a KHSAA sanctioned event, after it hits 25,000, KHSAA picks it up and not Zurich, the company that we use. Trying to think if there's anything else. I did reach out to our the agent Joe Roberts on this and asked him for some information. So I'll just share with you. I asked him, about our claims over the past couple of years, what those have looked like. And he said that we're averaging about 40 claims a year, which he says is a pretty good number, but it's good news because it shows that families are using it and benefiting from it. So how it works, if, let's say, my son was injured at school, his insurance, our family's insurance would be primary, and then this pulls in secondary to, so you don't, you probably not gonna have anything out of pocket because your insurance covers the first bit of it, and then, it comes in and pays the rest of it. It's kind of how it works. So he said, we show a lot of activity. We show that a lot of families are taking advantage of that, which is a good thing. He said, actually, in this past year, it's gone up quite a bit. So he was glad that our quote didn't go up more than it did. So that was a good thing. I asked him if most school districts in the state carry student accident insurance, and he said that his agency insures 158 school districts in the state. I don't know exactly how many districts there are, but obviously that is a majority of school districts. He said there are some districts that don't use them that also offer it. He's only aware of 3 districts in the state that do not provide it. I did ask if there were any alternatives. Are there things that we're offering that we could change or alter that might save us money? He said that we currently offer Plan 3, which is 100% coverage up to the $7.5 million for each student, with the only limitation being $1,000 maximum for physical therapy per accident. He said that's the plan 80% of his school districts use. They have plans that offer less coverage. Of course, the premium would be less, and I'm not sure what those figures would be. I'm just reaching out and asking, hey, are there options? I just want to let my board know if there are or not. Of course, this isn't something we're required to provide, but obviously I think it's a good thing that we want to have in place. I'm not really saying that I don't think we should do it. I'm just telling you all the options. If you want me to go back and ask for alternatives to this, I can, or we can leave it as is. Like he said, 80% of his 158 school districts that he works with use the plan that we offer as well. So we'd reached out a couple years ago about increasing the physical therapy amount, but we determined based on the number of claims that use the physical therapy benefit a year, which might be like, it varied from like 2 students a year to 10 students a year. It was going to greatly jump the premium up. So we decided, years ago not to increase that physical therapy limit amount. But you guys can let me know if you want to proceed as we have, or if you want me to ask more questions about an alternative plan. That's up to you all. I don't know anything about the alternative plan yet to say, here's what it would look like. But if you want me to get more information, I'm happy to do that.
Any questions? Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept a quote from Hartford for student accident insurance for the 2026-2027 school year?
I'll make a motion.
Philip, second. Jen, second. Vote, Gloria?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, Lee.
All right, thank you all.
7N, Science PD contract. Diane.
Yes, so one thing that I'm really proud of, I'm proud of a lot of things, but one thing that you probably noticed from the presentations tonight is that our admin team works as a team. And we try to make decisions together that are best for all kids and make sure that you're getting, the same education, whether you're at one elementary or another in our district, that, we're working as a team. And so one of the things that we realized from our measurable results work was that, we adopted the HQIR Open SciEd for our science classrooms, but it is a completely different way of teaching. It is spiraling content through storylines. And it's awesome. As a former science teacher, I don't think there's any better HQIR for our science classroom, but because it is so different, we definitely need some training. And that's a need that we decided we had as a team. So this would be a 4-day training, but it is broken up into grade levels. So K through 2 the first day, 3rd through 5th the next, then middle school, then high school. So each team just has 1 day of training. If you looked at this contract, you probably noticed it's June 1st through 4th, which I realize we have not made it, knock on wood. Hopefully we're just smooth sailing for the rest of the year. But I have talked to the trainer and she understands that. So she's leaving other dates available for us that are close to those dates. So hopefully though, we get to keep them as is. But this is coming out of Title I funds. This is a need that our district has, and that's what Title I funds are for. So I'm asking you to do that.
Doesn't make sense to buy the resource and then not train.
Exactly.
So,
Do I hear any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the contract with, is it
PIMSR
PIMSR to approve professional development for K-12 science teachers?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler, second. Philip, vote Gloria.
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Christine, before we go into closed session, I noticed that the family resource ladies come in and I was gonna offer them a chance to say something and I missed when it come on the consent part
Oh, that's okay.
of the agenda. I didn't know whether y'all wanted to say anything.
We want to
whether-
thank you for one thing,
Yes.
for what you do at your family resource centers. And I know it's been, I think, Appreciation Day, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much. We did bring you all something, if we could just give that to you. Is a folder of our infographics that we did from each of our centers, just showing you what we do in each center and where all of our time and efforts go.
I would appreciate that.
Yes, yes.
If you've never gone to one of these ladies' rooms during school hours and see how many students go through there asking for something that they can't get at home or something that they need in the moment, I think you would be surprised at how much they do besides just what's on that one line label that comes underneath her title.
Well, I hope this is one program that is never defunded, because we certainly need you.
You know, Ms. Brooke, I don't want to take anything away from you, but because you're awesome and you're my Waynesburg. But Ms. Brooke has 190 students, let's say. And how many students does the family resource person have at the high school and the middle school and Houstonville and Stanford?
We already have a certain activity.
So, you know, these other ladies really, really have 4 times, 5 times the work that Ms. Brooke has.
I have
Students.
students too, and I don't want to
Oh.
pick sizes, so please take
Which one's
one.
the biggest one? That was mine. Everybody else can scramble for the small.
So we just put in the,
I know the problem is I don't have glasses.
so we just put a little infographic in, just showing you what our components are. I know a lot of times people think we're welfare and basic needs. That is one of our, that we do, the barriers. But we do so much more and we can help out so much more in our schools. So we appreciate that you guys allow us to be a part of the schools and what we do there.
Well, you do a fantastic job. We get lots of positive comments. I hear lots of positive.
Thank you.
We couldn't do school without the youth service centers.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Of course, Ms. Hickson and I used to work together.
We did, didn't we?
All the good old things.
Right,
We
when
sure
they stole her away from us.
Yeah, and then you show up here, what happened?
That's right.
But thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll just say that if there's ever anything that we can do to help out, that's maybe outside of this realm, but just something that we can do, just, if it's just showing face of support or going out and trying to help drum up some business for you guys, don't hesitate to reach out. 'Cause that's what we're here for. And if we don't do that, let us know. In public.
Right.
So everybody else knows we ain't doing that.
Yeah, there's a public comment section that you can sign up for and rate us, please.
No, we do.
But we don't know unless you ask.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Do I hear a motion to move to closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101C for a discussion of proposed or pending litigation?
I make a motion.
Gloria, second. Jan, vote Gloria.
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jan? Tyler?
Yes.
I vote yes.